2016 is in full swing. This is the Kings of Rise.
This is Ultima.
And this is Masterpiece Gaming Theater. Well, actually, this is MGT Cast.
MGT Cast.
So, like the big 2016 logo on the screen, we have some new games coming out in 2016. Some anticipated games of the year so far, with pretty sure with more being on the way. But those ones are probably going to be announced later in the year, but then come out next year. So
yeah, around E3 time.
Yeah, around E3 time. So this one, so we have some games here that should be coming out.
Barring delays.
That with let's just say withholding pending delays. Let's hope these games come out
this year.
So to start off, we're starting in March. So early next month, more like on the 1st for the PS4, we have the re-release of Heavy Rain. This one is actually more like, it's gonna come out because this one's gonna come out because it's
just a port.
It's a port, so the game has already been released, so it's gonna come out. I don't see why it'd be delayed. And obviously, those, if you already don't know what Heavy Rain is, it's I don't know, how would you explain it?
It is a
Whoops.
It's arguably an RPG in a way, but it's kind of like it's like an interactive story, kind of like a point and click adventure. Think The Walking Dead by Telltale. Okay. The Telltale games. It's very akin to that.
And I also find it similar to the brand new release that came out last year, Until Dawn, except
it is also similar to that.
Except Heavy Rain is a lot more interactive. Like, it makes you do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the tutorial is you brushing your teeth. # spoilers.
I don't know how many people haven't played the game yet, but
I mean, I played it. I love that game.
Let's just hope they do. Let's just hope they, that the visuals become a lot, like, even more impressive than they already are.
Let's hope they get some smoothed out and cleaned up a little. And hopefully it's not just a, like, here it is.
Just like a straight up port.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. This one also, a re-release, comes out on the 4th of March. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD for the Wii U, which is so far my most anticipated game this year so far, because my personal favorite. This is my personal favorite Zelda game, and honestly, like, I mean, when you love a game, I mean, how else can you really say how much you appreciate it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think sort of just to continue to tide us all over until the new Zelda comes out. They decided to re-release Twilight Princess. I'm excited for it. I didn't get a chance to play it as much as I wanted to, just because at the time I didn't actually have a Wii. We only had my brother's, and then my brother moved out, and so.
And also, what I'm excited for is the fact that you could play it on the gamepad, because it was a dual release. It was GameCube and Wii.
Oh, that's right.
I played it on the GameCube, so I wasn't really into that whole, like, the whole motion control crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bland.
It wasn't as intense as
Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword was a lot more responsive.
Yeah, and not like Skyward Sword was like what you did would, like, impact the game. The other game was like, flick my wrist and then I swing a sword.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's got an amiibo that's coming out with it. So I'm looking forward to picking up that amiibo for sure. Wolf Link and Midna, but also, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but there's this rumor going around that if you enable the Ganondorf amiibo on the game, it makes the game harder.
Huh.
But Don't quote me on that. That's just a rumor I heard.
Oh,
But I
curious.
yeah, but
Curious to
yeah,
know if
I
that's
do.
true.
Yeah, I do own a Ganondorf amiibo. So
As do I.
I mean, I'm not gonna open it, but someone in the house here at my house has one open. So we're gonna have to test that theory out when the game comes out, or look it up and confirm the theory. All right. So moving on. Coming out on the 8th. Another one of my anticipated, not although not as much as the Twilight Princess one is. It's on a different kind of anticipation. We got Tom Clancy's The Division coming out on the 8th,
The Division.
and me and Ultima both have been playing the beta, and we're pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Um, it, I think the other thing was like it ran really smooth. That was the other thing. Like I don't know. In my experience with betas, there's usually some level of
Choppiness.
yeah, and like I was shocked at how well the game seemed to be running, especially for being a beta. I mean, I know. I guess realistically the release is soon, but still,
Yeah, I mean,
considering
and
it's
then
not the
then again,
finished
they've been
product.
working on the game for about 3 years now. So
Oh, okay.
because I mean I think it first premiered at least at E3 in 2013. So um I mean it might have been even been working on longer than that. So um I'm pretty impressed with the game myself because they got they keep, I mean, like most games, they keep the PvE and the PvP separate.
Yeah.
So I mean, the PvE is actually pretty cool, and from as far as we see on the beta, it's only been a limited area of New York so far, or I want to say either New York or I mean or Manhattan, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
Um,
Not really.
huh?
Wherever Madison Square Garden is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really look at maps that much, so I don't. I mean, we live in Cali, so I don't really know much about New York. So never been out there. So
I
I could
have, so I feel like I should know a little better, but I don't.
but yeah, I mean, considering like if you pull up your interactive map on the beta, there you know you're obviously barred off from going anywhere else,
Yeah.
and the map looks pretty big.
Oh yeah, the map looks gigantic.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot. I mean, it's sold as an RPG, so there's gonna be a lot of moving around. And also, I'm pretty impressed with the Dark Zone, despite the experience we had when we first walked in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I expected it to be like just Scrub City,
Yeah.
people attacking you every chance they got. But after we dealt with a team of scrubs,
Yeah. Scrubs.
with what honestly was like, because you can only have a 4 team max, and these guys were attacking everyone they saw. So it was like 11 of us there, and we
Yeah.
fucked them up. So I mean, after that, it was pretty civil after that, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, it honestly, from our experience, it sounds intimidating, but our so far our experience has been pretty civil. So um,
Yeah, it was nice.
yeah,
Did a lot of jumping jacks.
yeah,
As
we
one
did
of
a
the
lot of
emotes.
jumping, a lot
There's an
of
emote wheel. One of the emotes is jumping jacks.
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Um,
So all right, moving on, we have Pokken Tournament releasing for the Wii U on March 18th. Now
mm,
this one is pretty particular because it kind of came out of like out of nowhere technically, because like
yeah.
how did like because the first screenshots for I want to say the first screenshots for Pokken Tournament almost seemed like it was making a new Pokemon Stadium game, which I really still want.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that's what we were getting.
Yeah, because it was a picture of Lucario and Blaziken like facing off
Yeah.
in like
A 3D environment.
HD
Yeah.
beauty.
Yeah.
So I mean, we all thought that it was going to be a new Pokemon Stadium game or a new game like it. So we were getting, hyped up as hell. But then it ended up being a what is basically a cross between Pokemon and Tekken, hence Pokken. Um, but so far the visuals have been we haven't been disappointed by visuals thus far. But
They off the
let me give you
chain.
a quick overview. So fighting game, one on one, it uses various Pokemon, and it's similar to Tekken. But weirdly enough, when they released the arcade machines in Japan, they did not have traditional joysticks. They had console style controllers. It's so you know, some people will look at that and go ugh, but like people like me who don't have really much experience with fighting sticks, with a fighting game joysticks and joypads, like I don't have much experience with them. I mean, I probably could get used to it a lot faster than say the normal person, but this is so like anybody can pick it up and anyone can have fun. You know, you don't have to jump straight in and be hella intimidated. Um, there also seems to be is the game is planned to focus more on action as opposed to more technical gameplay as you know as you see in Tekken. There's also special moves and mega evolutions that can be built up using what is called a resonance gauge, which almost seems like a super from like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Um, Players can also use supports. Um, October 30th, 2015, there's a footage surface of a boss fight in the form of Mewtwo known as Shadow Mewtwo. Um,
Pokemon and their shadow things in game. It was always like in their console games.
yeah,
Shadow Lugia.
yeah, pretty much. Also, we're gonna try to release this as fast as we can. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to do it by at latest tomorrow. So, first print Wii U copies of the game packaged with a Shadow Mewtwo amiibo card,
Oh.
which will immediately unlock the character for use.
Huh. Interesting.
And like most games nowadays, it will feature an online mode where players can, you know, fight and online, obviously. But I don't normally trust uh, servers for online fighting because it's normally pretty fucking choppy.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think I've played a fighting game online that wasn't
that wasn't
iffy.
choppy.
Yeah, that wasn't iffy.
Yeah. So don't quote me on this. I found. Well, I mean, this might be the selection until maybe there's some DLC. It currently features 16 playable Pokemon, so I'm gonna read them off right now. Blaziken, what was like Braxen? Isn't that
Oh yeah,
the
That's
second?
the
That's
yeah,
the
it's the second form of God, what's her name?
Fennekin.
Yeah, Fennekin.
I don't know why I can't read that fucking
It's
that
like
name sometimes.
breaks in, something
Yeah,
like that.
this one's weird to me. Chandelure.
Chandelure, what?
Yeah, Garchomp, Gardevoir, Gengar, Lucario, Machamp, Mewtwo, Pikachu Libre, Sceptile, Shadow Mewtwo, Suicune, which is another weird one to me, and
Yeah.
Weavile. Because most of these, if not all of them, they're all at least can be bipedal.
Yeah.
Pikachu is a cross between bipedal and
Yeah, he can stand on his
and
hind
quad
legs.
pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems weird to me that Suicune is a a playable character. There are also assist characters. This game also features 30 non-playable assist Pokemon that can be summoned to aid the player. So from what it looks like, these assist Pokemon are split up into teams of two.
Uh-huh.
So we got Snivy and Lapras, Emolga and Fennekin, Frogadier and Eevee, Jirachi and Whimsicott, Miss Magnus and Ninetales, Farfetch'd and Electrode, Togekiss and Rotom, Dragonite and Victini, Croagunk and Sylveon, Pachirisu and Magikarp, Cubone and Diglett, Magneton and Quagsire, Espeon and Umbreon. Uh, what is that? What is the Y legendary called?
Yveltal or
Yveltal or whatever.
Yeah, Yveltal.
And Latios, and then Reshiram and Cresselia.
Huh.
So those are the support. Those are the support slashes. This Pokemon.
I'm curious if the exclusion of because Greninja, you didn't say Greninja or Charizard, right? Like just in general, like they're not one of the 16 playable ones.
Oh no, Charizard.
Oh, Charizard's there. Okay, I'm thinking Greninja's not.
Sceptile is though.
Okay, huh?
Weirdly enough.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's planned DLC. 16 doesn't feel like a lot, just knowing how many Pokemon there are.
Yeah. You wouldn't be wrong. That's for sure.
I mean, I'm not saying they have to have like 400 playable characters, but 16 just seems a little on the shallow side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they probably because obviously if they released it, they tested it out in an arcade to begin with.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't. I mean, so quick trivia for everyone who doesn't know, the arcade machines in Japan weren't very successful because one credit lets you play for about 45 minutes. So I don't think like having 400 selectable or a lot of selected Pokemon like from the get-go would
Yeah.
be very it would be very economical, but the arcade machines itself weren't very economical, so they weren't very widely popular. Um, but from what I've been hearing, the game itself is actually really good still.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see on the 18th when
Definitely definitely a
when that
buy,
jumps out.
must buy for me.
Huh?
I love Pokemon, so I gotta get it.
All right. Moving on. Moving on to April. So basically, before we start saying, hey, what about the games that I want to hear about? I mean, these sound like games you want to hear about, but I'm just saying, like if I already didn't say it, I probably didn't. But these are our anticipated games for 2016, and we're gonna move to
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
So starting at April 5th, we have Quantum Break that I didn't even know was coming out until like a week ago.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that one. So Ultima can go ahead and take that one away.
Yep. Okay, so I mean, originally, first of all, I just want to say this is the game that was like, I was like, yeah, Xbox One, I want it because it looks cool. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be released in 2014, and then it was supposed to be released late last year, 2015, but they pushed it back because Xbox had other games that they wanted to get out then, and they didn't want to compete with themselves, so they pushed it back to April. But basically, it's a third-person shooter, and there's like there's a live action portion of the game that plays out like a TV show based on the choices you make in the game, and basically you're two like detectives or like cops or something like that, and basically there's a time travel experiment that goes wrong, and it causes time to start breaking down, but it grants the two main characters different time-based abilities. One can see into the future, and the other one can stop time. And so sort of things just sort of unravel from there. But yeah, I guess there's branching paths, and that'll be played out within these live action segments, which I find really interesting that they decided to go with like an actual TV show almost within the game as opposed to just a cutscene that most games do. So I'm actually really curious to see where they go with that.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah. Set to be released April 5th, 2016. It will be released also on the Windows Store for Windows 10, but it will not be released on Steam.
Which some people will probably be very upset about.
Yes, some people are going to whine and complain.
But that just means that you don't buy it on Steam. It's still being released for the PC. Stop crying.
Yes.
That's basically what it means.
Don't be sensitive.
Don't be sensitive, PC Master Race people. It still exists on the interwebs for you to buy. So go ahead and buy it. It doesn't need to be on Steam. So shall we move on?
Yeah, I think that's about as much.
Moving on to April 12th with the anticipated release for a lot of people, cult following of Dark Souls 3. Prepare for the Reign of Blood.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh, I thought okay. I thought that was like the subtitle, Dark Souls 3: Reign of Blood, and I was like, ooh,
oh, that'd be fun.
That sounds intense.
It sounds intense and very dangerous. So, coming on is the third game, and like we should basically on a platform and on a basis we should know what Dark Souls is. Pretty sure everyone might know the basis of Dark Souls, so I don't need to, or Bloodborne for that matter, being made by the same company. I don't need to explain it in depth to anyone. So basically, I'm just going to be explaining like new things that new things that have appeared as far as the information goes, even though it is coming out on the 12th. Um, let's just say just to start off, just general information right now. Even though I said I wasn't going to say a lot about it, it's it's third person. It's a third person action role playing game. So that should tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Um, not so much hack and slash, but with a difference, is dangerous as fuck. Um,
Ugh. Yeah.
so the gameplay follows closely to Dark Souls. I want to say don't some people might jump on me for saying this, but it's almost like a cross between like Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne. Um, but people will say I'm wrong as far as Dark Souls 2 goes, more like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, because it almost seems like with like all the videos I watch, it takes like the best of all these things and they put them together almost. Let's see. Bonfires. We still got bonfires. Um, each attack has two different styles. One is a standard attack, while other provides power up to players. It is slightly more powerful. Um, the magic meter has returned, which is similar to Demon Souls. So they also have like if you've played Dark Souls, you have an Estus flask. And this time there's an Estus flask and an Ash Estus flask, which means like I think that one brings back your magic. Is that? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Combat and movements are much faster in Dark Souls 3 than it is in 2. Because if you've ever watched any Dark Souls 2 videos, it looks kind of like it's got its own pace. Let's just say. And so does and with the release of Bloodborne, it's sped up a little bit. But if you've watched any Dark Souls 3 videos, it moves really fast. So, but then again, if you think about it, it's faster but a lot more dangerous if you're not careful. New combat features include a ready stance, which are special abilities for players, allowing them to deal much more damage to enemies than normal attacks are capable of. Small gravestones are introduced. These gravestones light up when interacted with and not only serve as players' torches but provide additional lore. So most people would normally you don't pay attention to lore, so you're not really engrossed into the story. A lot of people like me, at first, I didn't play Dark Souls for its lore. I played for its lore of difficulty. Its lore for me was its difficulty. But then later on, you come across a lot of things that has to do with lore, and I got very engrossed in it. So, to quote one particular YouTube channel, Vati, by the YouTuber Vati Vidya, he does really good videos on the lore of Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne, in which he explains the lore and even goes as far as to explain the background stories of certain major characters you might have met and stuff like that. So, it says the game puts more focus on role-playing, in which the character builder is expanded and weapons are improved to provide more tactical options. And to top it off, it's as multiplayer oriented as it's ever, and it also the world is not going to be as big. I mean, there isn't going to be as many transitions to different areas in the world like there was for Dark Souls 2, but the areas are going to be bigger. So basically, it's like what is normally like 2 or 3 areas in Dark Souls 2 is going to be like one area in Dark Souls 3. I want to say. So there's going to be a whole lot of area for you to cover before you move on to the next area. So, that's all I really got for Dark Souls 3. Let's move on to April the 22nd with Star Fox Zero for the Wii U.
Woo! Okay, so Star Fox Zero for the Wii U. So the interesting thing is, the name Zero is kind of weird because it's sort of a lot of people are like, what is this, a prequel? What is it? So Nintendo of America said this game's not a sequel or a prequel, and Miyamoto said it's not a strict remake of the first game, so it seemed like this is kind of rebooting the series, I guess. We don't necessarily know what it's gonna retcon, but it sounds like um, maybe the games post Star Fox 64 might be getting a little bit of like a like getting their canon removed. So Corneria is coming back. That's going to be another level. It's going to be a little bit more based like the first two games. Like mostly in your ship, your R wing. Let's see. Anything else? No. All we know is on the cover box you can see Star Wolf and his ships in there, and they're confirmed to be in the game. And then the the Landmaster? Landmaster is making a comeback, and I guess your R wing at some point can transform into like a walker, almost like a ATST type
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Which was originally going to be in Star Fox 2, which ended up being canceled for the Super Nintendo, and then they just made Star Fox 64. So they're reviving that sort of old idea, and Miyamoto's worked pretty closely on this game. He's the producer of it. So this and a couple other games, which none of the two I think are coming out this year either. But this is sort of like one of his main projects right now. So it should be good. I think the hopes are high. It hasn't been a great Star Fox game in a while, so I think people are ready.
It just seems like outside of Zelda and like all like the multiplayer like Nintendo games, I've pretty much lost touch with like most of what Nintendo has been or is going to release, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Because normally, like, I used to be really big on Nintendo, but I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. Times change.
Yeah.
People change. Are you playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne?
Yeah.
Or both?
Or depending on.
Or a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Flame shield on. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Should be a nice throwback.
So weirdly enough, I wrote this one down like later on the list for April, even though it says the 13th. I don't know if I'm actually like tripping a little bit here. Like if like Doom is actually being, if Doom is actually being released in March, like I found, which is odd to me. Let me see. No, it says May 13th. No,
Yeah,
May 13th.
May 13th.
Okay, yeah.
May 13th.
So we moved into May. I didn't write down May. I fucked up there. So I've actually noticed that I don't need that for this, because the way I'm recording it this time around, like I can actually browse the internet. So that's fun for me. As the way I usually have it set up, I can't fucking browse the internet, because if I drop it down, I won't be able to fucking look up shit. So let's just say, like, we all know what Doom is. Hyper violent, gory first person shooter that if you don't like it, don't fucking buy Doom. Okay. As we know, Doom first person shooter, which has badass demons, big effing guns, as I say, but me for its big fucking guns and moving fast. Let's see. The game will feature large arsenal weapons, which Doom has had. Super shotgun, BFG 9000, Revenant, Mancubus, Cyber Demons have returned. As combat system, the game pushes emphasis and momentum and puts its emphasis on momentum and speed. The game allows players to perform movements like sprinting, double jumping, and a combat system known as push forward combat. What are you doing, Joshua? A whole lot. I'm just talking. You're still dizzy? No. Just come down to move around. Yeah, I know. How about that?
How about it? How about it?
Just as a note, I was sick today. Had some really bad vertigo, so it was just my mother checking up on me because she's worried about me. So I'm doing all right now though. Um, It says, let me just get back to it. A combat system known as push forward combat is featured, which discourages the player from taking cover behind obstacles and resting to regain health. As a result, the game will not feature any cover mechanics or a health regeneration system. So that sounds crazy.
It sounds hard.
That sounds hard, and it sounds like you should be acting like like a commando, you know, like the old action movies where they don't reload. But like the old Doom games, there are health and armor pickups scattered throughout the levels, or you can kill enemies to regain health. There's always that. Doom has also introduced a melee execution system, which allows players to perform melee takedown when other players deal enough damage to enemies. Enemies available for melee takedown will be highlighted. They say, and also its software stated that Doom's campaign will be more than 13 hours long. And that's pretty long for a first-person shooter, huh?
Yeah.
And if the game is as hard as they're gonna make it sound, might be even longer than that.
30 hours?
13.
Oh, 13.
I think that's long for a first-person shooter.
Oh no, that's still long for a first-person shooter. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I beat the new Black Ops 3 on realistic in about 6 to 7. And that's just factoring in all the fucking ridiculousness of being one-hittered. Also, there will be multiplayer. For several multiplayer modes such as traditional 4-player deathmatch, domination, freeze tag, and clan arena. Power-ups and teleporters will be teleports will also be featured in the game. Asymmetrical structures, which players can pick up a pentagram in the map, which allows them to transform and fight as one of the monsters featured in the game. There will also be an inside built-in tool called Doom Snap Map, which allows players to construct multiple custom maps and new game modes and share them with the online community. It sounds like fun. I probably will play the multiplayer on that because that sounds like it sounds unbalanced. It sounds like it's gonna be an unbalanced hell.
Yeah.
Seeing how Doom is as a game, that sounds like unbalanced hell. Just imagine if they left it like that and was just like, just imagine if they left it like that, just because the game is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna do that. I hope.
Probably not. Should be patched.
Yeah. So moving away from games that have apparent release dates, we move into the games that some of us are anticipating on top of not having a clear-cut release date. So my first pick for that one is a RTS called Ashes of the Singularity, which is tagline is planetary warfare on a massive scale. So if you have ever seen any of the videos for Ashes of the Singularity, they are promoting huge like huge armies, massive armies in fights. And like damn. Excuse me. So basically they've built an entire engine around being able to fight other armies with other massive armies with a massive army. So let's say I'm in their FAQ right now. It says, what makes Ashes of Singularity different from other RTS games? Until now, terrestrial strategy games have been substantially limited to the number of units on the screen. As a result, these RTSs could be described as these RTS could be described as battles.
Mm-hmm.
What? Anyway, thanks to the recent technological improvements such as multi-core processors and 64-bit computing, combined with the invention of a new type of 3D engine called Nitrous, I'm pretty sure that's the the engine they invented. Ashes of the Singularity games can be described as a war across an entire world without abstraction. Thousands or even tens of thousands of individual actors can engage in dozens of battles simultaneously. Now think for a second, StarCraft, right?
Yeah.
The supply limit is 200 for normal games. That's without mods. Now think of that times like a million, maybe.
200 million.
No, not that big, but I don't know.
Like a
I'm not really
thousand.
sure. It's right now. It's in its beta, so I'm not really sure how big exactly like the armies can be. But I've
Even just
seen.
10 times more though is like insane. Like
Well, you know
2,000.
what? We'll just go 100. How about that?
Yeah, that's 20,000.
Yeah, we'll just say for the sake of we'll tone down the ridiculousness of the whole thing and just say 1,000, or what is it? 100? Did I say 100,000? Whatever. Um, and also they have a thing called benchmark. It's to test to see how well your PC can run a program. With Ashes of Singularity, the benchmark will run a scene of the game and it'll give you a score at the end, so it can tell you how effectively your PC will be able to handle it. So it says while this game is optimized for DirectX 12, users with DirectX 9, 10, and 11 will be able to run the benchmark. So that's pretty much a tidbit. If you want to look it up more, you can look it up on their website. They have videos on there, and it's pretty it's actually pretty enticing. So far, the beta has got a 9 out of 10 on Steam. So
Okay.
I'm looking to one of these days looking to play a really a really huge, massive scale battle. So
That sounds cool.
And again, I couldn't find a release date for this game. So
It's on Steam beta, you said?
yeah, Steam beta right now. So go ahead and check that out if you got Steam. Go ahead and check out their website, ashessingularity.com. Next up on the announced 2016 with no date, we have Gears of War 4, which I'm gonna take it off to Ultimate, but it doesn't sound like there's much to work on there.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna be real. There's not a lot here that we know. The game's coming out Q4 2016. My assumption is we're gonna find out a lot about the game at E3. But just I mean, I guess some important things to notice. Microsoft bought the rights from Epic Games because originally Epic Games, technically it was theirs, and Microsoft just, had the exclusivity. But basically, now there's a first-party studio called the Coalition. But they got the former director of production at Epic Games during the Gears of War run to come on and sort of take on the head role there. So there still should be a pretty strong direction back to the old series. Hopefully it'll be better than the last Gears of War game, which was not Gears of War 3. There was that other one. I can't even remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about, though.
It was bad, but anyway.
Well, I mean, was it actually bad?
Yeah,
as far as reviews go, or was it bad to you? Is the question.
It was not. It wasn't generally well received. It was like kind of meh.
Oh, okay. It was okay,
general.
But
it wasn't
way better.
It definitely wasn't like it. It didn't feel like Gears as much.
Okay. Makes sense.
But they, from what I'm understanding, they want to try to go back to the roots of the series, I guess, is what I was reading. Because they feel like they sort of got away from that the more the game went along, 2 and then 3. And they said while those were good games, they felt like they slowly started to drift away from the original.
Yeah, that seems like a problem with a lot of games where they have to go back to the roots because then, then they start to lose their cult fan base, and then then it's all fucking downhill from there.
But it's going to be on Unreal Engine 4. And Phil Spencer is impressed with what he's seen so far, for whatever that's worth. But that's about it.
All right, so moving on to another unreleased game, or at least a game that doesn't have a definite release date. We got Halo Wars 2. There is like absolutely zero information I found out besides it was confirmed, and then the release date is set for either quarter 3 or quarter 4 2016, depending on how much they've been working on the game thus far. RTS Halo, honestly, it's not bad. Like, it requires a specific person, really. I normally enjoy most RTSs, so I pretty much like, it didn't really bother me any. Some people were very, I guess it required a certain taste to play, because it's not the Halo, obviously, in a sense where everyone's like, oh, it's Halo, let's play it.
Yeah.
No, it's not Halo and let's play it. It's Halo, it's RTS. So yeah, there's really not much information I found besides like it was revealed and it was confirmed to be Halo Wars 2, and then it's set for either quarter 3 or quarter 4. That's pretty much it. Now moving on, we have a new Mass Effect game for the unreleased section, or for the assumed no release date section.
Yeah.
It's Mass Effect Andromeda.
Andromeda.
Mm-hmm. Andromeda.
Yeah. I found myself in Andromeda. Anyway. So those that don't know, Mass Effect, it's awesome. And Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
And then Mass Effect 3 took a nosedive at the end.
Yeah, I didn't have as big a problem with it as other people did. The game itself was still good, and I think most people still acknowledge that the game as a whole was good, but yeah, the ending was kind of...
Yeah, but then you got people agreeing with each other going, yeah, the game just sucks now.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you've seen, seeing is that anyone who knows me knows I've seen enough anime to know that there are good endings and there are bad endings and there are bleh endings.
Yeah.
That's just what you fucking deal with. You can't expect to have a good ending every time you do something, every time you watch something, every time you play something.
Yeah.
So just because an ending sucks doesn't make the whole thing gay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Bad.
I'm making Hillary Duff upset again.
Yeah, Hillary Duff would be very upset with you right now. Anyway, so the game's scheduled to come out holiday 2016, which is obviously this year, but there's no definitive release date. The game will take place
in hell
long after the events of the first 3 Mass Effect games.
So
and it's called Mass Effect Andromeda because it will take place in the Andromeda Galaxy. So this assumes then, or one of two things, is that either my assumption then is that this will make there be, because the first 3 Mass Effect games, they were very clear that like, well, there's no like canon storyline because it's just, Shepard's journey is what you make it, and blah blah blah.
Tell me the plight of your people.
Yeah. So if it's either going to take place so long after the fact that we won't hear or see anything about the first 3 games, or this means that we'll get a actual canon storyline from the original trilogy. So I think that'll be very interesting to hear. Also, you will be able to pilot the 6-wheeled buggy type vehicle that was seen in the first Mass Effect game.
So that piece of shit?
Yeah. And you can play as male or female as the other ones, but that's about all we have right now on that game. It'll be for Windows, so it'll be for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Okay. So, another one, as DJ Khaled would say.
And another one.
I don't know what that's about, but so another game announced for 2016, but no date. It just says on the release date says 2016. That would be the JRPG of Persona 5. Now, Persona, I've never played any of the Persona games. This one was more for Blue Guy, but he couldn't join us because he had a family member in the hospital, so he had to deal with that. So
Yeah. Shout
so
outs to Blue Guy.
shout outs to Blue Guy and his fam.
Yeah.
Hope
Take
he
care.
I hope whoever's in the hospital is feeling better or gets better. So we hope to hear from you soon.
Leave a like for Blue Guy and his
Leave a
fam.
like for Blue Guy, please. I'd love that.
Yeah.
So like I said, Persona 5 is more of Blue Guy's area of expertise. Seeing as I'd never ever played a Persona game, I've seen the animes for them. They're pretty impressive depending on considering. I guess I guess my anime standards. They're pretty impressive.
Yeah, but how's the ending? No, I'm just kidding.
Persona. I haven't seen the end of Persona 3 yet. Persona 4, I was content. But yeah, I've yet to see the end of Persona 3, so I have yet to really let you know what that's about. And and then in other worlds, there's the Devil Survivor, which I think that could have ended a little bit differently. But anyway, um, let's get down to brass tacks here. Persona 5 is a role-playing game in which players live out the year of a high school boy. In which, when I'm going to let you know right now, all the Persona games, and for the most part, Devil Survivor, they're all high school people, a nameless high school people. Until an anime is created, then they give them names. Excuse me. The life of a high school boy who gains the ability to summon facets of his psyche known as personas. Dungeon exploration features additional elements from previous iterations, such as jumping across gaps or dashing between cover. Dungeons feature a mixture of fixed environments tied to a plot and theme, and randomly generated environments. Battles based on turn-based attack systems, when the characters wielding both their personas and two weapon types, a gun or a melee weapon. The social element for Persona 3 and 4 returns in its altered form. So basically, I guess cast interactions are back, but they're different. Should I read the plot? Because it seems like Japanese games and media have a plot. So should I read the plot?
How? I mean, I guess if it's a short summary, yeah. Or is it a lot?
No, it's like a paragraph and a half.
Oh yeah, okay, go for it.
Oh, I don't know. My English isn't that. I guess my time in English class wasn't that great. But I'll just read it. It's not super long. The story focuses on 16-year-old protagonist after he's transferred into fictional Shujin High School in Tokyo. Staying with friends of his parents, he meets up with the problem child Ryuji Sakamoto, the withdrawn Anne Tamaki, and the student Yusuke Kitagawa, and a talking, shape-shifting cat-like creature known as Morgana. During the protagonist's time there, feelings suppressed by the environment, the five form a group known as the Phantom Thieves of Hearts, working together to explore the palace, with quotes, a castle created by the hearts of people, and steal ill intent from others' hearts to help them during this quest. They confront adult authority figures opposing them, along with a greater enemy revealed by their activities. Plot: thievery of emotions. That's what it sounds like. And I will say that the rumors of its development for this game, it's already 2016, have been floating around since 2009. So 7 years.
Holy crap.
This game's been rumored in development for 7 years. That's a long time. So, Blue Guy, that one's for you.
That one's for you. Enjoy your Persona.
Enjoy your Persona. So, last but not least for this year, at least so far for games that are supposed to be releasing this year, we have the unnamed Legend of Zelda for the Wii U.
The Legend of Zelda.
So what do we know?
All right, here's what we know. It's going to take place in a fully connected overworld, similar to the original Legend of Zelda.
Lovely.
There's going to be a less emphasis on defined entrances and exits to dungeons. And
no loading screens?
yeah, stuff like that. And the game's going to allow players to have more freedom, allowing them to decide their destination.
With
And
no loading
then
screens.
the overworld can be traversed on foot or on Link's horse Epona. Epona automatically avoids obstacles, allowing the player to concentrate on other tasks such as shooting arrows. Link can leap off
Autopilot horse.
Epona and enter bullet time to better aim his bow at
Wait,
enemies.
what?
Yeah, you'll be able to leap off Epona and enter bullet time.
Bullet time.
The world is said to be the largest one in any Zelda game.
So we're having Legend of Zelda
and is
The
as large as the Wii U's hardware can handle. So it's high definition, obviously, but it's incorporating cell shading. So I think it's to sort of allow them to, because obviously the Wii U's not as strong as the Xbox One or the
So basically all they really did with the
PS4.
Wii U was add HD capability.
Yeah,
it's not a super powerful unit. They just have the
yeah
the bare minimum of HD.
So what they're doing in a way to combat that is to, cell shading, which will be a little less intensive than I think most.
It's funny. Like some people will be like, "Ew, why?" But
it's going to be cell shaded like Wind Waker was, but it's not going to be so cartoonish.
So it's just going to have it's going to be like.
It's just going to have a.
So it's like maybe what Skyward Sword looks like, except prettier.
Yeah.
Brighter colors.
Yeah,
it'll make me smile.
Similar. So let's see. What else do we know? Okay. I know I read there's some rumors that this game could be like Twilight Princess could end up being dual released on the Nintendo NX, which is obviously Nintendo's secret new platform.
Secret
that we will find out about at E3. But obviously that depends if the NX comes out this year, then it's probably more likely. If not, then we're probably just looking at it as a strictly Wii U title.
I think they should just wait till 2017, but that's me.
Yeah, that's what other people are saying too. But basically, the last couple Zelda games, they say they're rethinking the conventions of Zelda, and that when they did Link Between Worlds, and you had the option to sort of pick which dungeon you wanted to go to once you got to the other world, which was a little more reminiscent of the original. They felt like maybe that's the way to try to go, and that they wanted to reform the dungeons and puzzle solving, which are two of the major gameplay elements in the series. So there's a lot of hype around this one, essentially. So we'll see if they can deliver. I don't think there's been a more hyped Zelda game in recent memory, in all honesty.
Now, here's the question: has there ever been a bad Zelda game?
No.
We're talking about or okay. It's an okay game. Like, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, has there ever been a Zelda game like that?
Not really. Some people got really harsh on Skyward Sword after a while.
Why?
But they had an issue with the motion controls.
I'll blow it out your ass.
But for the most part, it was pretty critically acclaimed. So I don't know. I thought Skyward Sword was fine, but I really can't think. The only one that's kind of universally panned is Zelda 2, and that one was almost like a platformer. It was like an action platformer.
But no one really. Well, at least I never had really any real like ties toward it because I never touched it once.
Yeah.
So
that's probably the only one in the series that people are kind of like, eh.
But that came out a long time ago, so we don't have to worry about that.
I think it was either Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass. One of those was not considered that great either. But
it was still above average though.
Yeah, for the most part, we've rarely seen a bad Zelda game.
Yeah, because I played Phantom Hourglass, I liked it.
But I think a lot of people are expecting a masterpiece.
A stellar as hell of a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but is their ultimatum still in effect though? Because you heard about the ultimatum, right? A couple years ago.
I vaguely remember. Which one was that again?
The one where if a bad Zelda game ever came out, they'd stop making Zelda games.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean, but maybe that's why they're rethinking some of these things, because maybe they're like, maybe we got too formulaic at times, or
Yeah. I mean, but then again, there was never a bad Zelda game, so.
yeah, we've yet to see a bad Zelda game, really.
But people, there are people in here. Oh, that game is stupid.
Yeah, that game's stupid.
The game is so stupid. I don't know why.
I have to calibrate my Wii controller. Ugh.
I have to lay it down on its face.
Ugh. I don't want to lay it down on its face. I'll just play anyway. Why isn't this thing responding?
No, not everyone sounds like that.
I know.
We're not saying we're making fun of those people. We're not.
Yeah.
That's not what they actually sound like.
Well, in my defense, for the most part, I had very few difficulties with the motion controls, except for a couple fights, maybe.
I'm not saying, because I played the beginning of Skyward Sword. I'm not saying that I didn't. I'm not saying I didn't like the game. I'm just not a fan of motion controls. So for the most part, I watch Ultima beat it. So fine game. Yeah, that's pretty much it on our list. I was going to add the new Valkyria in there, but this was for American release dates only. And that game is going to come out in Japan this year, hopefully. Wow. So that means the sooner it comes out in Japan, the sooner it comes out here, even though people are saying it's not going to come out here, and I'm going to send a very hateful email if they don't. And I don't care if they don't read it.
Yeah, Sega.
But Sega usually releases...
If you could give us Sonic Boom, I think you can give us...
No.
You can give us Azure Revolution.
No, they could keep Sonic Boom over in Japan, I'm not going to lie.
I know, for real. If you keep churning out awful Sonic games, I think you can give us some love with Valkyria. We're just saying.
And I think one of these days we're gonna do. I want to line up a cast on doing Valkyria because there is gameplay footage released, and I want to review that.
Yeah.
And there are 40 minutes of game footage I want to review. So this seems like it's the end of our anticipated games of 2016. This is the Kings of Rise.
This is Ultima. Shout out to Fire Emblem Fates.
And shout out to Blue Guy, and I hope your family member gets better.
Blue Guy.
We see you in the next one, Brohan, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
In the next one. On to the next one.